how to create a custom camouflage inside Photoshop and Illustrator. What up? What up? Welcome back. I'm glad you stuck around for part 2 of how to take a camouflage effect inside Photoshop and bring it inside Illustrator. There's not a video on YouTube, sadly, that's going to use what we've done here and bring it into Illustrator for crisp vector graphics. All right, especially if you're trying to send it off to a printing house, you're trying to wow a client, or trying to enhance your skills. So here we go. At this point, you should already know how to make a camouflage effect just by using filters in Photoshop. So we're going to use the first filter, actual layer that we have here. I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm just going to click on the actual layer, the eyeball here. Look what it's done for us. It's closed out everything except this part. This is what we're focusing on. What we need to do is be able to select all of this one color. And guess what tool we're going to use? That's right. We're going to use the magic wand tool. And we're going to click on the color. Look, it's done a wonderful selection for us. And we're going to go over to paths. And we're going to create a work path. All right. It's created a work path for us. Look what it's done. It's given us all our anchor points. Hit the letter A for the direct selection tool. Highlight it all. Hit Command C. Let's go over to Illustrator. If you have not opened a file for Illustrator, be sure to do that. And it also must be 3000 by 3000 pixels. Let's make sure our PPI is set to 300, industry standard. And on top of that, CMYK. And then what we're going to do is, since we hit Command C, let's go to our layers panel and layer the amount of layers that you've made inside your camo that you've done in Photoshop. If you created 10 different layers, create 10 different instances for your Illustrator file. All right, I'm going to select camo number 1, and I'm going to hold down Control, or on the Mac is Command, and hit the letter V. We want this as a compound shape, fully editable. So let's create that. Now it looks very small, but that's okay. By holding down Shift and Alt, we can scale it up to the full page. Let's move it over, or we can just use this horizontal align center, and then we're going to do it vertically. So now it's perfectly centered. Now you can use the background, go to your swatches, and pick a color. I'm going to use black. All right, black is our background. Uh-oh, I used it on my camo. I didn't want it on my camo, so I'm going to lock my camo, and I'm just going to go to my background and use the rectangular tool, basic rectangular tool, and I'm just going to choose a color. I'm going to hit red. Then I'm going to highlight my camo. I'm going to lock my background so I can make the selection. Uh-oh. Undo. Hit V and make my selection of my camo. And then I can change the color to anyone I wish. If you want the same color inside Photoshop, we can do that also. Let's go over there. And let's do an eyedropper and let's find out what it is. Okay. We got our hexadecimal color code. Let's copy that information. Go over to Illustrator, double click on this color, and then just hit Command V and paste it in. Hit that, and there you go. There's our yellow, right? Now let's lock this one, right? We don't want to interfere with that. Then we're going to go over to Photoshop, right? Go back to layers. And we're going to, well, before we continue, let me put this out there. Make sure you have a duplicate file of a PSD because we're about to do some destructive stuff. So file, save as, and name it now. Because now, once you have it over in Illustrator, we're going to delete this. We don't need it anymore, so get rid of it. So we no longer want that, and we don't want the work path anymore, so we're going to delete it. All right, let's go over to the next layer, and we're going to hold down Alt, and we're going to click on this one. Look, there is our new splotches, and look how ugly this looks inside Photoshop. I mean, you don't want no pixelated work to show to a client. We want to make sure it's smooth and awesome, and we want to wow people. So we already have that, and we're going to go and use the magic wand tool. Click on it. There's our color right there, right here. Let's go to paths, and we're going to create a work path. Let's create that. There it is for us. And we're going to hit the letter A, direct selection, select all those anchor points, Command C. We go over to Illustrator, go to our second layer, and then we're going to hit Command V. And we're going to do yet another compound shape. So we got that, and we're going to scale it up. Make sure it's the whole length of the page, horizontal align center, and then vertical align center. Go back to Photoshop, hit the letter I for the eyedropper, double click the color swatch, copy the code of the hexadecimal, go back into Illustrator, and we're going to double click on this one since we don't have no fill yet, and we're going to hit Command V, and there is the hexadecimal code. Boom. All right, so that's our second color. That actually looks pretty cool. And if we turn this on and we just rotate it, look at that. That's pretty dope. If we want to change the background color, you can, so that we don't interfere with our two camos. We could just click on the red and we could just experiment. Look at that. Dope. This is what's dope about Illustrator. Oh, I really like that. That's all right there. Okay. Now what we need to do is go back to Photoshop. So we locked our first two layers so we don't mess with those. Make sure we highlight Camo 3. Go over to Photoshop. Again, remember, you've already saved the file, so you don't need to do it no more. So you're not losing anything. So hit delete. We don't want this anymore. And we also don't want the work path, so we're going to delete the work path as well. Now we're down to just one measly camo pattern left. And this is what we have. So we're going to hit the magic wand. So we got to make sure we highlight the layer. Hit the letter W for magic wand and click on any of the swatches. As you can see, it has selected it for us. We go over to paths. We're going to create a work path. It's already done it for us. I'm going to use the quick selection, direct selection tool by hitting the letter A, select it all, Command C, we go over to Illustrator on Camo 3, and we're going to hit Command V, and it's a compound shape. Let's hit OK. Scale it up, all the way up. Then horizontal align center. That's 3 straight times I didn't pronounce it correctly. And then vertical align center. Set it together. And you can change it to any color as you wish. So you can use this as the base, and then you can go back and manipulate the color right inside Illustrator. So if I said white, boom. There you go. You got white. And you might say, well, that's really dope and it's pretty tedious. Hey, no pain, no gain, right? And you might say, well, this is pretty dope. It is. Before you save this as a AI file, I cannot stress it enough. Always highlight it all and bring it over and create a custom symbol so you can build your symbols library up. They're very small files, and I will recommend sending this to a client or send it to a print house rather than an AI file. It's not big. They can just open the symbols panel and drag so many instances of the same high quality image as an AI file. So I'm going to name this, I don't know, on the fly camo 1. And then I'm going to hit OK with that. Oh, guess what? If you just drag it over like that, you will get this. It needs to be expanded. So let's do that. I've already created me a shortcut, so I'm going to expand mine. So I've already expanded it. I'm going to get rid of this one. I don't need it. Delete. And then I'm going to bring it over. I'm going to call this on the fly camo 1. I'm going to hit OK. And look, I have my very first custom camouflage symbol that I could use. What if you want to elevate this even further? I want to expand the appearance. So I'm going to go up and I can't expand the appearance, but I can expand it. So I'm going to select all of it. And I'm going to use the direct selection tool over here. And I'm going to do something really, really cool. I'm going to hold down Shift and hit M. Now, this is one of my favorite tools outside the Pathfinder. It's the Shape Builder tool. I can choose any color as I wish and just go in and select independently of what color is what. So I can hit A again. Let's say I want to choose this one. And I'm going to use Shift M. And I want to say I want to make these black. So I'm going to pick this one to be black. I might pick that one to be black and that one to be black because black and white is really good contrast for each other. So I might use that, right? And I might say, well, I want to choose the blues of it. Let's see. Let me check my layers, see what we got. The blues, I might say, you know what? I got a lot going on. So I'm going to pick the yellows again. And I'm going to continue with the blacks. Shift M for the shape builder. And just go ahead and hit some more of these. Right? It might look like a big mess, right? Up close. But if you add it inside another shape, that's what makes it dope. So let's do that. Y'all know what I'm hitting at. Clipping mask, right? So I'm going to grab a circle, an ellipse, and I'm just going to do it out of bounds by holding Shift so that I can keep its proportions. And I'm going to not fill it. I might even scale it down a little bit more. And I might just drag it over to any area as I choose, right? And I might say this area might appeal to me. I might even use this area and scale it down just a tad bit more, like right there. Now, if I select all, hit Control A, right? That selects everything. And if I say Command and the number 7 or Control and number 7, look at that. I now have a camouflage ellipse. Now, can you imagine if this was a logo that you done this for? You don't have to be traditional in your camouflages. You can make really cool different colors, splotches. You know those Nike logos when they use the neon colors and all that type of stuff. This is the same desired effect. You can have a boring color in the back, but you have this as the forefront. You might be like, well, that's pretty cool, but do you see the clipping mask behind the circle? We want to highlight that then. If we grab that, let's grab that, the actual clipping mask. All right, then let's rotate it. Oh, you're not gonna let me grab it. Yup, there we go. And then we grab the clipping mask and rotate it. Look at that. You're changing the way it looks now. It's all about the clipping mask. You can rotate, scale it in, and get different desired effects by playing with clipping masks. So not only do you have a really cool looking uh, camouflage effect, you have something. Well, if you don't want to call it camouflage, you most definitely can call this uh, abstract for sure. But this is how you literally pull off that effect. You took everything from filters inside of Photoshop and you brought them in as vector inside Illustrator. There's no video on YouTube to actually explain this. I know it's pretty lengthy, but that's okay. As long as you got the technique, I'm proud of you. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.